Qualifying is complete for the 93rd edition of Le Mans, and we've learned a lot. From specific brands proving that they have what it takes to challenge for victory, to a class that can never be predicted because it's so competitive, to newcomers showing decent pace to get into the mix. So this is a quick breakdown of what we learned from qualifying at the 2025 24 Hours of Le Mans. One thing's for certain, Cadillac looked quick. All 4 V-Series R entries ended the hypercar session by making it through to the hyperpole shootout, and in fact, Cadillac secured the fastest lap of any entry in hypercar in the qualifying session. The coveted first place title went to Alex Lynn in the number 12 Cadillac for Hertz Team Jota, as he set a 3-minute 22.847, which was actually a hypercar class record and 0.04 of a second quicker than the number 15 BMW of Dries Vanthoor. Last year, Cadillac showed very strong pace at Le Mans in the fight for pole. Sébastien Bourdais and Alex Lynn in the former Chip Ganassi run Cadillacs almost grabbed pole, but eventually missed out to Kevin Estra's Porsche, and finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. In 2025 though, the American brand looks even quicker than when they were here in 2024. And like I said, all 4 Cadillacs made it through to hyperpole, including the brand new number 101 V-Series R from Wayne Taylor Racing, with the team making their debut at Les Arves. Speaking of newcomers, Aston Martin made a major step forward with the Valkyrie AMR LMH. Aston Martin clearly had their best session to date in the hypercar class. Marco Sorensen in particular put in the lap of the day to get into the top 15 in the 009 Aston Martin Valkyrie. While Sorensen at the time was just barely knocked out of hyperpole by Felipe Nasr's number 4 Porsche Penske, later on it was announced that the Valkyrie would end up going to hyperpole because of the disqualification of the number 6 Porsche Penske, and the car would still place ahead of one of the Toyota GR010 entries. So overall, a really good session for Aston Martin. This car seems to suit this track, and I'm hoping that they can get a big result in the race. Something else we learned was that Mercedes is still ironing out some issues as they return to Le Mans for the first time this century. Newcomer Andrew Gilbert stopped the number 60 car with an issue at the Dunlop overpass, while the number 63 Mercedes of Stefan Grove caused the first big incident in practice at the first braking zone. However, despite the fact that the 3-pointed star is still somewhat new to the world of GT racing at Le Mans, Martin Barry in the number 61 AMG GT3 was actually able to get into hyperpole, which shows the progression of Mercedes and Iron Lynx at Le Mans. Meanwhile, LMP2 remains competitive as ever, with no clear number 1 favorite in the 17-car field. However, Spike the Dragon is inching ahead as a potential candidate to start on pole for the race. Last year, Louis Delatraz qualified on pole in the Spike Oracle 7, and we are seeing a similar situation from qualifying, which saw AO Racing and TF Sport have an opportunity to repeat the result, with the Swiss racer ending up on top in 2025 in the number 199 Orica, with a 3-minute 35.472 lap time. However, it's still close to impossible to determine which of the LMP2 entries in hyperpole have the opportunity to be on top. For example, defending winners here, United Autosports placed their number 22 car just 0.2 behind Delatraz, which proves that the LMP2 battle will be extremely close, not just in hyperpole, but in the race too. Something else that we can take away from qualifying is that Peugeot are really struggling in the hypercar field at Le Mans. Before the event began, the balance of performance table was released, and it showed us that it was hurting Peugeot's 9XA hypercar, with it now being the least powerful car on the grid, which can be problematic on a track that has high speeds like Le Mans. Both Peugeots were unfortunately knocked out in qualifying and didn't advance into hyperpole, with the number 94 car in 18th and the number 93 qualifying in 19th. However, both entries do gain a place after the disqualification of the number 6 Porsche, which I mentioned earlier. The fastest lap from the quickest 9x8 though was 2.3 seconds slower than Alex Lynn's fastest time in qualifying in the number 12 Cadillac. However, the number 94 Peugeot was just 1/10 behind the number 7 Toyota of Nick de Vries. So even though it wasn't the result the French manufacturer were hoping for, hopefully the Peugeot Total Energies team can still come back stronger in the race. But it's clear the Peugeot are really struggling, as based on qualifying, there is a chance they might not be in the fight for the win in the race, which is super unfortunate. One of the teams that's new to Le Mans that was showing really good potential in qualifying was the Zigo Sport Tempesta squad. This team is making their first appearance at Le Mans following their invitation from the GT World Challenge Series, and they have brought their white and orange Zigo-sponsored 193 Ferrari 296 to the event. And in qualifying, the car not only made it to Hyperpole, but the 193 Ferrari was also the best placed Ferrari out of all the 5 entries from the Italian manufacturer in LMGT3, as the team even outpaced the full season Vista AF Corsa entries. Something that's absolutely for certain though coming out of qualifying is that Ferrari is definitely going to have some major competition for the win this year. As I already mentioned, Cadillac look quick, but they aren't the only ones that I see in the fight. Along with the American brand, BMW, Porsche, Alpine, and Toyota all look good to challenge the likes of Ferrari in the upcoming event, and we could genuinely see one of the closest battles for the overall victory in the history of this French endurance race. Qualifying showed us that the grid is extremely close in the hypercar class. In fact, the top 8 entries in qualifying are within a second, and in the race, there is a genuine possibility that someone else besides Ferrari can take the victory this year. So that was a quick breakdown of some things we learned heading out of qualifying for the upcoming 2025 24 Hours of Le Mans. But now I want to know, which storyline are you interested in as the weekend plays out for Le Mans? Well, make sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below.